What
Yeah,
does a
we enjoy it.
sponsorship from Fifth Third Bank look like? Is it cash? Is it services? Do you make introductions? Do you
Yeah,
provide
it
content? Put your teams in the media. What do you do for them?
yeah. So our what we look for is we're different than like BF that can do contingency programs and things
Yeah.
like that. So for us, it's an exchange of money. So we'll we'll put together a partnership, and the race team will say that's going to for to be on the car for 5 times a year, that's going to cost you $100 a race, and based on that, you giving $100, us giving $100 to the team, we'll get uh, our paint scheme on there for 5 races, and we'll get social media through that through the team's reach, and for us that's important, but it's not the driver of the ultimately the return on our investment. It's that measuring the the business relationships that we gain, that the team provides access to, as I talked about before. Now our partnerships, we tend to look at them in 3-year increments. I'm a big believer in not doing a partnership with a team that's just 1 year at a time. I
Mhm.
think that it's got to be a two-way commitment, and it takes time to get the return on the investment. Any team that tells you that they can get you return on investment in 1 year is not telling you the truth. And any sponsor that thinks that they can get the return in 1 year doesn't know what they're talking about.
That is true. It does take time. And 3 years is what I find to be the sweet spot in terms of really getting the program together and understanding and building that formal co-partnership in order to approach customers for the sponsor itself. So I'm assuming $100 was just a number you threw out there. That's not exactly what you pay. I'm like, is it 100,000? I'm wondering. He's not going to tell me. Um,
Well,
Fifth Third Bank.
I'll tell you what, in the NASCAR space, it goes from uh, at the cup level to 200,000 to 500,000 per race, depending on the
Okay,
team you're with.
per race. Right on. Now, is that all cash or is that services provided? Because I know you do a lot of M&A counseling or consulting, and there's a lot of everything from family planning, financial planning, I should say, for family and death benefits, things like that. You do more than just banking.
Yeah, certainly a full service bank, and we're, depending on how you measure us, between the 12th and 15th largest bank in the country. The So when we look to bring on a new sponsor, a new sponsorship, a team, one of the first things we look at is what are the direct opportunities with that race team in terms of financial services that we can provide. So we expect to become their primary bank, and that can be providing lending services, that can be treasury management, cash management services, uh, uh, credit cards, all the things that it might take to run a team, and of course, deposits and things like that. So that's really that's the first thing we look at, is in terms of getting the return on the investment, is what does that banking relationship look like with that team? Does that team owned by a person that has another business that we would be able to provide banking services for that business as well? So now now we're starting to build a strong business case where we see some guaranteed revenue that'll come back to the bank. And when we look at sponsorships, we're looking at, and it's not completely as straightforward as I'm going to describe it, but we're looking at basically a 3 to 5 return on the dollars that we invested and the revenue we get back. So if we invest $1, we expect to get $3 to $5 back in revenue, and we want as much of that to be as much of that revenue back be revenue directly associated with the team or the ownership of that team, and then the rest of it comes from who that team can introduce us to and help us get business that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise.